Now, some journalists say that Thiel's actions send a chilling message about freedom of the press, making the story far more complicated. The Thiel Foundation, as Laurie was talking about that just there, donated more than $1 million to the committee to protect journalists. The group responded to Thiel's revelation with this statement. Take a look here. They're saying, "We support the right of individuals to seek civil redress in cases of defamation. However, we do not support efforts to abuse the process by seeking to punish or bankrupt particular media outlets." Joining me now to talk about all of this is Laura Coates, a CNN legal analyst who served as a federal prosecutor. So, Laura, thank you so much for joining us. I'm just curious, though, in your opinion, how ethical is this idea of financing a lawsuit because you have some kind of personal vendetta?
Well, it's interesting you talk about ethics, Zane, because one of the principles that Mr. Thiel is talking about is the unethical journalism that's being used by Gawker. And frankly, here on stateside, you know, the idea that you can have these kind of class action suits where one person is trying to rally the troops against a particular cause and trying to find plaintiffs who can actually be the perfect person or the perfect poster child for an invasion of privacy can be difficult. And in walks Hulk Hogan with this very, very key case. And people talk about ethics, but it's not illegal here in the United States to actually finance a particular lawsuit. It's becoming more and more common practice, and I think that because there's no insinuation that he had any influence over the jury's actual decision, then his ethics really aren't in question.
I mean, but what is the domino effect, though? I mean, are we going to see more media organizations perhaps censoring themselves out of fear that billionaires like Peter Thiel could come after them through third-party lawsuits?
I think you are going to have a real cooling effect because, you know, the idea of the internet and the idea of the United States, when you do have in other countries, you have a much more robust privacy laws. In the United States, you have the First Amendment, and there is the little sticky situation of trying to figure out what is of the public interest. And when there's a public figure, does really anything go? And here we're seeing in this lawsuit and in this very, very crucial jury verdict that there is a actual limitation, and that things like sexual conduct and nudity and even social security numbers or other health information are really kind of sacred ground. And that's what they're saying right now. And so I think you are going to have a domino effect of people being very, very cautious about what they publish and realizing that celebrity does not mean that you can do anything you'd like in terms of publishing otherwise private information.
So what happens next? I mean, are we going to see this becoming more common, in your opinion?
I think we will. We're going to see it in terms of whether or not people are almost censoring themselves in the publication of material. Keep in mind, the First Amendment is alive and well in the United States, and one of the keys of the First Amendment is that if it's a matter of public interest or the celebrity or a public figure or person has already put it out there in the public's eye, they're not going to have the same level of privacy that other people would have. But here is a very clear message. It is a clear message that Hulk Hogan was saying, listen, what I do in my public life versus what I do in my private life are very different things. And the court has essentially said that although you may publish certain details about somebody's private life if they're a public figure, the journalists have to be on guard. It is not a free carte blanche to do anything you'd like. But I do think there is some questioning about the impact of a billionaire venture who, although we're talking about not being just a vendetta, or not a venture capital, but a vendetta, there is a real domino effect and a silencing on a lot of tabloid-esque journalism where we would otherwise see a free-for-all on celebrities. It will be a cooling effect, especially knowing that the average person, even if they don't have the resources, will have financiers like Peter Thiel and other organizations.
Well, the cooling effect, especially because the amount that Gawker might have to pay, although it's being appealed, could be $140 million. Laura Coates, you have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.